I'm Ian Dilly.
And I am Michael Sheehan. We are going to give you our picks for the jerseys of the Vuelta a España.
Not the general classification, the red jersey. We did that in another video. Of course, you can go watch that. But we will be looking at the Young Rider, Climbers jersey, and Sprint jersey. Let's start with the Young Riders jersey. This is actually new to the Vuelta a España for this year.
Yeah, it is. The Vuelta a España used to have a combination jersey, which was some weird nonsensical combination of sprint points and GC points and climber points, and nobody understood it. For some reason, they had it for something like 20 years. Getting rid of it, just having a Young Rider jersey like all the other races in the world.
Yeah, the other weird thing about the combined classification points jersey, it was always won by the same rider who won the general classification, so it was more or less a pointless jersey. The Young Riders jersey will be especially exciting because the Vuelta is kind of a grand tour for young riders. It's where a lot of teams put their young riders that haven't done a grand tour before, their neo-pros, and so will be an exciting competition. I'm going to go with my pick for the Young Riders jersey, Tadej Pogačar. This is a rider who has impressed me throughout this season from the very start. He won the Vuelta a Algarve in Portugal, a 1-point HC race at the start of the season, went on to win a World Tour race at the Tour of California, and has had strong rides throughout this season, an incredible climber, and he's part of a kind of an infusion of talent on this UAE Team Emirates team. I will say the one thing going against Pogačar is his own teammate Fabio Aru and what role Pogačar is given during this year's Vuelta. If Fabio Aru, who had a pretty good ride at the Tour de France, finishing 15th overall, is able to perform at this year's Vuelta, then Pogačar may not be able to ride for himself and go for that Young Riders jersey.
Yeah, Pogačar, really solid pick. He has been phenomenal. I am going to go with the young British rider, Theo Gegenhardt. He set himself up for a really good run at the Giro d'Italia. He was looking like he was going to be a genuine contender for the white jersey along with his teammate Pavel Sivakov. However, Theo had really rotten luck. He got caught up in a couple crashes, lost a lot of time for that. Team Ineos is sending him back to the Vuelta. He is going to get a shot at redemption. This guy is a winner at heart. He has ridden really selflessly over the last 2 years with Ineos, setting himself up for a really good support rider for the likes of Egan Bernal. But Ineos, they don't really have a team leader at the Vuelta, and I think that this is a great opportunity for Theo to seize on that and go after that white jersey.
Let's get into the Climbers jersey. I am going to pick Hugh Carthy. This is another rider who will be a bona fide contender for the Young Riders jersey, but Hugh Carthy really shines in the mountains, the big mountains, the high peaks. This is a rider who had a phenomenal race at the Giro d'Italia, 3 top 10 finishes in that race and 11th overall. Also kind of got into it with Vincenzo Nibali on the Queen stage over the Mortirolo. He is not a rider who is lacking in confidence by any means. He impressed me beyond belief at the Tour de Suisse, where he rode solo for almost the entirety of stage 9, the race's Queen stage, over multiple beyond category mountain passes to win that race by himself. Only 25 years old. I think this is going to be Hugh Carthy's breakout ride. I think he is going to scoop up all the mountain points and take the Climbers jersey at the Vuelta.
A good pick. I am going with Fabio Aru from UAE Team Emirates for the Climbers jersey, and I'm going to tell you why. He is one of the many cyclists who's been recently diagnosed with an iliac artery issue. His was a constriction. He had to sit out of this year's Giro d'Italia because of it. He got surgery, got it sorted. He came back and started racing 3 months later in June. He had a really quiet, uneventful Tour de Suisse, but got through it just fine. He then went on, as Ian said, he raced a really quiet but successful Tour de France. I believe he was actually 14th place. You can fact check to us that in the comments if you like. But whatever the case, that was a great, really first Grand Tour back for Fabio Aru. I think if he has a little bit less pressure on his shoulders, maybe not going for GC this race, he can do phenomenally well in the mountains, pick some stages and go on raids and just win some stages, get his legs back under him. I'm not sure what his strategy is going to be if he does want to go dive right back into GC racing or not. That is, time is only going to tell there.
Yeah, pretty incredible how quickly Aru is recovering from his iliac artery procedure. It'll definitely be interesting to see how he does at the Vuelta. Let's get into the points classification, because this is an interesting jersey at the Vuelta. Of course, the Vuelta is not necessarily known as a Grand Tour for the sprinters along the lines of the Tour de France, but this year is pretty special. It has 5 true stages for the sprinters, and
6, I think.
Six pure stages for the sprinters. The interesting thing about these stages is they come further into the back half of the race, into the second week and third week of the Vuelta, and so I think this will make for a rider that has a really strong team. A rider with a team who is not depleted, who is not tired, who can keep these breakaways in check, because of course the Vuelta is known as a race for the breakaway specialists, for the climbers. In fact, the winner of the points classification last year was Alejandro Valverde, who won over Peter Sagan and Elia Viviani. Valverde even took a field sprint over Peter Sagan, which was pretty incredible. So it's going to be an all-out battle. I am going to go with a pure sprinter for this classification. I'm going to go with the Colombian Fernando Gaviria. Gaviria, of course, has had a difficult season. Got off to a good start early in the spring with wins at the Vuelta a San Juan and UAE Tour, but took a turn for the worse in April when he injured his knee. Did compete in the Giro d'Italia and won a stage of the Giro after Elia Viviani was relegated. However, he dropped out of the Giro on stage 7 with that same knee injury, was not able to race the Tour de France. The Vuelta will be his big comeback race. He did compete in the Tour of Poland, took 2 second places there, so he is on form for the Vuelta, and I think will be looking for redemption in this final Grand Tour.
Look, sprinting is a game of confidence. The more you win, the more you are going to continue to win. It is such a head game in sprinting, and there is one sprinter here at the Vuelta a España who has had a successful year, and that is Sam Bennett. He amazingly has not done a Grand Tour yet this year, and that just kind of shows the depth that Bora Hansgrohe has in their sprinting roster. He had to sit out of the Giro and the Tour de France. He's finally getting a shot at the Vuelta, but that has not stopped him from being incredibly hungry all year long, racking up wins at pretty much every race he's been to. Most recently, he won 3 stages in a row at the Bink Bag Tour and the Irish National Championships. He is on an absolute roll, and against an injured Fernando Gaviria, a who knows what Mark Cavendish, and John Degenkolb, who isn't really winning much at the moment either, I don't see anybody who is going to be able to contend with the Irishman in the Vuelta a España sprints.
And of course, Sam Bennett, also in transfer news, moving to Deceuninck Quickstep next year. That is almost confirmed. And so he, I think, will really be out to prove that he is the rider that can take the reins on that Deceuninck Quickstep lead out. Obviously, one of the best sprint teams in the entire world. Yeah, it'll be an all-out sprint battle. Tune in, of course, live and on demand for the Vuelta a España in Canada on FloBikes.
And if you agree or disagree with our jersey picks for the Vuelta, please let us know in the comments.
They're gonna let us know anyways.
I didn't have to say that, did I? All right, we will keep you posted throughout the Vuelta. Please join us and watch along. Thanks.